Ukraine couldn't really have that much of an impact. I mean, we look at when we saw the players on the team there, I think Orange had 0 kills. I think Zoom had 0 kills as well. There's a bunch of, really well-known Ukrainian players that are just not having an impact. I think Perfectix only had 1. So the fact that those players aren't having an impact on the game so far is, I mean, I'll say that at least on game 2 is why I think they lost that one. And maybe that depth is why Russia are coming in and basically why they might get to the final.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's see where it's going to go. Another 15 seconds to go until the circle will be shown. Russia is, I don't want to say split in half because I think it's only like 5 or 6 players who are down towards the south. But at the same time, you do have a good chunk of Ukrainian players over towards Impala. And well, this circle is, at least to me, first come, first serve.
Taking the scraps almost of the hills that we were saying were pretty nice. So I kind of feel like this is going to be a slow one. I thought Elegany had just hit a shot there on someone that wasn't visible on the screen. I was about to get very confused.
Would have been pretty impressive.
Yeah. You've seen the cameras have been a little bit dodgy, really big impact, because if you come up against someone that's got no helmet in a close range gunfight and you've got an AR, then you are going to win. You just hit one bullet on the head, you're just going to win it. But talking of win, that is a nice circle for Ukraine.
It does look pretty good. Maybe this is the chance for them to turn things around. As we've been saying, they do need 3 wins in a row in order to bring this one home and then go up against Turkey. And I don't know. I mean, how much homework can you do over the course of one evening when you got absolutely butchered? Like what it was yesterday was 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was. There's not much you can learn from games where you just get smoked. I think you just have to chalk them and move on.
Was it 1 hour and 5 minutes for the BO3 or BO5? I feel like it was.
I think it was, yeah. I think it was less than that, actually. I think that was the whole broadcast. Yeah, if we take the 3 games, it was something like 20 minutes.
Exactly. Nice save, nice save.
Almost screwed it up. But yeah, so now those ridges that I was talking about, the crater east of Picado, suddenly becomes a pretty strong position in this circle, because not only is it a really nice defensible position, it's actually also, there's a lot of high ground there that you can control. You can use it to pretty much control the whole area around Graveyard and make sure people can't sort of push towards you. It's very hard to push up that hilltop. But for now, Russia's they've got this sort of step. They've got the first step of getting towards there with this Graveyard position.
I mean, I think if you're Ukraine, you kind of have to make a stand soon. Because we've seen it so many times where teams go up against Russia and they keep on allowing them in. And in the end, at some point when you expect it the least, Russia just does divide, let's go and claim and like kind of start the fight. And then they'll catch their opponents off guard. They'll win the game off of that. So I feel like they need to try and hold them off, not already, then something like sometime soon.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's exactly what Russia did well last game, where they took control of the good positions in the circle and they didn't back off. There was a moment when it kind of felt like they were going to back off a big fight on the hilltop, but they actually, I think they recognized that they need to just pin Ukraine there, and then suddenly Ukraine had to make a really low percentage push. That's your teammate, Kissick. Calm down. Oops. But they recognized that they needed to just hold on. They did that perfectly, and they won the game.
Well, let's see if they can win another one. Should they be able to do so, they will be making it to the finals. Wait, nice headshot coming in there. Stays alive with barely any HP, but will be able to get the first hit off and fire bullets for a little while longer, but he is completely surrounded.
I'm a little bit curious why this Ukrainian this little group minority of Ukrainian players is really making this push, because we've seen time and time again when these pushes happen and they get shut down, it becomes so hard for the other team to win. I think we just jumped off it, but Wade's, I think, just got a double spray down.
Wow.
At least a one trade coming in. But realistically, this is an opportunity here for Russia to push it to a 3 or 4 man advantage, which means later on they're going to be in a really good position.
Yeah, this is going to be a good start for them, and the exact start they would have wanted to. And as you can see, I mean, it's actually going the other way. I said I wanted to see Ukraine try and hold off. Right now, it's Russia holding off the I guess you can say the Impala split Ukrainian force, and you would think that now that they're losing so many players, that the remaining Ukrainian players would then say, you know what, okay, we didn't get to decide the battlefield, but let's take the fight to them. That's not happening at all, and now they've lost somewhere around like 6 or 7 players without really getting anything in return.
Yeah, this is where just these smaller pushes from a little almost special force group just really does not work, because you run up that hill. Normally, let's say it was a squads game where you're in a 2-2 split, and you run up a hill to fight a team. Maybe there's gonna be 3 or 4 up there, and that's something. If you get the drop on the team, you can put it to a pretty equal fight. But if you're coming up, ow, that's gonna hurt for you. But if you're running up that hill and you're 5 people and you run up there and there's 15, yeah, you get the drop. Maybe you get 1 or 2 people not, but you're still 2.5 to 1, sometimes even 3 to 1, and the rest of your team just can't support you. So I really don't like that play from Ukraine. And realistically, now it's Russia's game to lose with that 6-man advantage. But that circle, I think if there's one way Ukraine does win this, it's the fact that they've got a lot of control over this circle so far.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Russia right now, waiting for 15 cars to crash. That's like the stalls there.
You wouldn't be surprised.
It's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen. They are going to crash in somehow. Right now, they're kind of allowing for Ukraine to rotate back, which I think is a bad play. They have to start get going. And you can see they're making their moves out now.
Yeah, and one thing they can do is if they swing on this western side and get control of the high ground on the sort of the southwest of Bandita area, where we see most of Ukraine now is starting to evacuate that area, I think maybe in preparation. But, there's an opportunity Russia can swing around, get the high ground. And yes, they don't have the hard cover from the compounds, but they then have pretty much full control of all the exposed areas. And Ukraine sort of gets locked in the houses and can't move out. It can't adapt to the next circle.
Well, oh well, oh well. What do you do here, Russia? I like the idea, I should say, of going west around up on the hillside, but I still feel like that's going to leave you somewhat exposed. You can kind of cut it halfway there, and that's exactly where we're looking right now. On the ridge line here, there's not enough players on the high ground above to be a real threat to the players that decide to play the hill here, and they are still in like a pretty decent spot inside the circle from where they are.
Yeah, I think maybe that's where Russia's got a little bit lucky, and the fact that Ukraine did back off that hilltop means that they can then play the position where we see Melman. Because I think if Ukraine had, let's say, 10 players on the southern side, it becomes suddenly a lot more difficult for Russia to really make any move. And now they've got pretty much free liberty to play on the west and eastern edges and really maneuver around these compounds.
Let's see. Ukraine, they're looking to try and see if they can find some kills. They need to do a dent in the armor of the CIS or the Russian team now if they want to be able to hold up as they come pushing in. Now you can see the cars are coming in. The smokes are being thrown to try and limit vision, and they're sending it full speed forward.
Yeah, the siege is in progress here, and now that 9-man advantage is good, but Angie lands a lovely double nade here out the window. But realistically, they need more than that. They need a lot more kills if they want to bring back this man advantage, because currently it's 10 in favor of Russia. Yes, there's a lot of knocks, but Russia's still in the ascendancy.
And look at how well Russia has managed to kind of just surround these Ukrainian teams. They know they had them split into 2 compounds, and they're just taking half of the time.
Yeah, there is that. The one good thing for Ukraine right now is that the Russian team's not really in one position. They're still quite split up. So there's an opportunity where maybe they can get kills. But if you look at that kill feed, generally speaking, it's just all Russia. There's not really any support. I think we see a lot of 1v1s happening, and there's never any trade when the Ukrainian players go down, and that's just allowing Russia to really open up the defensive line. And now this compound is all Russian, as all the Ukrainian players in this compound are either knocked or dead.
And that's what we're talking about oftentimes when we say, if you can, you want to divide it into multiple engagements. These guys just took what was already a lead, but made it into, let's say, 20 versus 5 engagement. And now they have another potential 20 versus 5 engagement coming up if they decide to all cross over now too. So abuse the opponent's splits. That in doing so can really get you like some good early, and I want to say mid kind of fight kills.
And this is where that high ground in the south meant that this whole eastern group of Ukrainian players could not support the rest of their teammates. They had no real way to run over and help out because they'd get shot if they were in the field. So they pretty much split Ukraine in half, as you said, able to isolate each team, and suddenly it's come so much in their favor that there's only 7 Ukrainians alive versus 27 Russians now.
Yeah, I'm afraid this is going to be a GG unless if these guys can pull off one hell of a final stand. I'm not seeing it happening. Let's see if who won with the AOG and I believe it's the AOG and then ARP. Did you see him? He did.
Just that's his own teammate. There you go.
Like the effort, but it ain't gonna matter. Ukraine eliminated, annihilated, whatever you want to call it out. They go as Russia takes